All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for some real people out there just like you and just like me. Today, another special guest on the show, all the way from Sweden. He's 6 hours into the future. He's ahead of me, and great artist, great composer, writer, arranger, jack of all trades, master of pretty much all of them. Please welcome Marcus Nordenberg to the show. Marcus, how are you, sir?
Thank you, Dave. Nice to be on your show. There were some great words there, but you're doing it. You're overdoing it.
No, no. And if fans don't know, Marcus is in this band here called Pearls and Flames. That's the newest project. And then I got hooked on Marcus back in the Coastline Ride days. This is just a terrific. I was telling people about this. I'm like, you've got to go listen. And, I made a few converts, Marcus. People were like,
Yeah.
hey, where's this music been? And I'm like, it's in Sweden, of course. It's all in Sweden. Go there and you'll find it.
Yeah, we're hooked on the 80s and 90s kind of style here, and trying to move it into the future.
Yeah, and that's really important, Marcus, because a lot of these older bands, they're just hanging on by a thread. They've got one original member, and he's not showing up for gigs, and people are complaining. We all grew up with this, so we're all kind of sad. And it's sad, but a band like Pearls and Flames, really carrying that music torch, forward into the future. What are your big influences? I think I'm going to know some of them, but just for the audience, what did you listen to back in those days?
Well, when I grew up, I mostly listened to the more hard rock kind of stuff like Dio, Whitesnake, Kiss, and then turned to Def Leppard, Europe. I was a huge Europe fan, even when they were not worldwide known, just here in Sweden. But I knew they were gonna go the world, and they did. So I was a big, huge Europe fan. And then I was introduced to more soft rock like Chicago, Toto, the West Coast scene, Maxus, Airplay, all that kind of stuff. David Pack. I also uh, through the 90s, more like Morrissey Free, Unruly Child, and then I just can keep moving. I like TNT. So I like uh, Peter Bryson. I like variety of music. So for me, I got a lot of influences that is turning into some kind of melting pot, I think. And for me, it's a good song is a good song, and the difference is how you choose to perform and arrange and do it. So I'm kind of pretty much open for doing different kind of songs. The trick in Coastal Ride and in Person Flame, the trick is to combine all these influences and kind of songs into a running order on the album, so it doesn't seems weird. You need to have the flow. I once read a review from the Coast and Ride album, On Top of the World, the one that came before Distance, and the reviewer said, when I came to the last song and started over from the beginning, it was like a whole another band. But during the journey through the album, it wasn't clear that it had changed so much. But then he started over, and it was pretty much obvious it was different kind of songs.
Yeah.
So the trick is to have a natural flow in the running order, even if the songs has a variety, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this album here, it just has this, I would say, very robust, almost like you say, you mixed all of these styles together. What song do you think, if you were to tell someone, hey, go listen to my album and start with this song? I mean, do you go the old fashioned album route and say, listen to song number one and just keep listening? Or is there a song, like a single on there, that stands out to you? A song you're really proud of that you would put out there in the time capsule, so people could find it, 1,000 years later and say, yeah, did Pearls and Flames, they were really good. They should have been all over American radio stations. I mean, what's your favorite song,
Ooh,
basically? Or could you?
that's a tricky one. Yeah.
It's
It-
like
it-
your favorite kid.
yeah, because every song has its own identity, and I really liked all of the songs, but in different ways. So it's very hard to pick one. But I'm much kind of soft rocker.
So
So
you,
I when I don't get tired to listen to the album myself, but when I have three songs, and they all the more West Coast songs that I really feel, wow, I'm in it.
yeah,
And that's Love Can Heal Your Heart.
yeah.
Is I get in a great mood when I listen to it. And I have Fall of the Road. Means a lot of means a lot to me because of where that song came from. Very personal. And also It Never Took Away Your Smile. I get moved when I think of it, because it the lyrics is about a person who worked at my school where I was a principal back in 2016, and she died in cancer, and she was sick many years before she died. And sometimes she came to school to work some period, and then she was too sick to be there. But when she were in school, she was always very friendly. She always smiled at people, helped people. She was a fantastic person, and I thought, how can she be like this when she's in the state she is in? And when she died, I really thought I need to write something about it. And my friend Anders, who is a composer, keyboard player, and multi-instrumentalist in Coastal Ride, and
Mhm.
has also helped me writing for this Person Flames album. He had a musical piece, and where he had a total different melody and lyrics to, but I really liked the musical piece. I said, can I do something? Can I try something new for this musical piece? I have something I really want to try on this one. And I really thought that it fitted well together. So that song is also very special.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of those more softer songs that, but I like the more up-tempo songs also, but those are the ones I really feel, I get the feel from.
Yeah, there was a song. It's funny, and that was a really moving story about how you came to that song. But I think the first song that really grabbed me on the Coastline Ride album was this song, "Here in My Heart." I think I probably told you about that back in, and to me that sounded like the classic '80s ballad. It just had this vibe to it. It's one of those things where you think to yourself, if we had the same atmosphere, the same industry that we used to have, where people would hear songs on the radio, for instance, and they would tell their friends or call the radio station, that would be like a number one, at least on the adult contemporary chart, it'd be a huge hit. Kind of had that Chicago, maybe
Yeah.
Alias kind of thing going on. A couple of different bands I think of when I hear that style. Um, but I mean, you're really good at this. You're good at coming up with these melodies. Is it difficult to come up with new stuff that nobody else has used yet? If you know what I mean, like a different combination of notes and chords, because everybody says, well, all the good ones are kind of used up now. So
Yeah.
you have to be really creative.
Yeah. Funny you say that. The Here in My Heart song is also very personal. With Me and my wife had some issues back in the days, and when we fixed it, and then this same came through as a result of that, and was my song to her for that we making it and kept this thing going. So it's also very personal lyrics, and the song was inspired by, I think I was very inspired by the Journey Arrival ballads when coming up with the first chords. And when you ask me about melodies and chords combinations, I um I always had it's an easy way to create melodies. And as a writer, I'm not very good um at playing. I'm no virtuoso, so I often use what I can, and work a lot of with the melodies instead of different kind of uh, like that.
Yeah.
I but I have my style of writing, and trying to combine the bass tones with the chords in different ways to get the things going different ways. And I often do the the basic structures, and like some, I want it to be like this, and then I hand it over to Anders or Thomas or Tommy to, okay, I want it to be like this. You got a refrain, it's going to go be, I'm going to sing it like this. Can you arrange it a little bit? And then they are better players, so they can add some coloring to the basic. So I need people to make the fine paintings, but the
Yeah.
ground thing I can deliver to them.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Plus you've got Sven Larson, who we were
Yeah.
talking about prior to this,
Yeah.
who's worked on so many great projects over in Sweden. And here in the United States, he'd be kind of like a Steve Lukather kind of character, a little bit, right?
Yeah, Sven is amazing. First of all, he's a very, very good friend and a humble guy. So that's an honor to have him as a friend. But as a guitar player, he's amazing. His style, he has got a really fine tone in his playing, and he's not overdoing it. He has a very tasteful kind of playing, I think. So it's an honor to have him on board, both on the Coastland Ride albums and with me now in Person Flames. So he's underrated, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I wanted to mention him. I've been
And that's
following
why
his work.
that's why I think it's really nice to see that he gets some gigs for other uh, bands and projects, so he can, I mean, spread his playing to more people.
Yeah, I mean, he's put out a couple of really good solo albums as well. That's
Yeah.
I think probably where I first heard him. There was this record label called Avenue
Oh,
of
Allies.
Allies, right?
Yeah.
And they had almost everything that they had. I thought was really good. Were you guys on that label? Was
Yeah.
Coastland?
Yeah. Our first album back in 2003 were on the not Avenue of Allies. It was on AOR. Ooh,
Is it AOR Heaven?
yeah, AOR Heaven. And then when we were finishing our second Coastal Ride album, on top of the world, we were contacted by Avenue and Allies, and then we signed with them, and they put out a reissue of the first Coastal Ride album and On Top of the World at the same time.
Yeah.
And the Distance album was also on Avenue Allies, but it wasn't very easy to work with the management there. So we
Okay. Well,
I don't want to say anything more about it.
well, they did have a lot of good bands. We'll say
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And they obviously went out of business or whatever, as many of these labels unfortunately do, which is really sad. But there's some good labels out there. I think the label that you're on right now, Pride and Joy Music, they're just putting out. I've been contacting them saying, "Hey, you guys are on a roll," and they put out a lot of different styles, and it's not all cookie cutter. I mean, everything has its own unique sound to it, and you guys, you fit that or fill that void, with this AOR music, which again is kind of here in the United States not a big thing anymore, but it used to be. And I love the fact that a lot of people in Sweden and a few other countries are keeping this alive, and you guys really have a passion for it.
Yeah, it's what we do. I'm listening to that kind of music very much myself all day long. So I really like that kind of music, and I listen to other music on radio. But if it's buying CDs or digital releases, it's only this kind of music I buy. So and hard rock. So I'm very thin in my musical
Taste.
when it comes to buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question would be, will there be another Pearls and Flames album?
I hope so. I'm just starting up. I have gathering a lot of ideas. Some songs are finished from start to stop in its structure. So some ideas are a refrain or a verse, and I work with my friends to complete the songs. And so I have just starting up the machine again, but we haven't done any recordings yet, but we're writing. So I'm on it, but it has taken a year or so to gather energy, because I say releasing an album is like having a baby, a birth. You liksom, and then you're liksom exhausted because you're liksom putting a lot of energy and efforts in it at the end, when everything is going to fit for the release. There's so much that needs to be done and put in place. So when you actually are done, you feel like, oh, I need to do something else for a moment. So
Sure.
it has taken a time to gather energy, but now I'm starting up again, and I really looking forward to take on the new songs and the new ideas. So, and then we'll see what it will bring, if Pride and Joy will have interested in it again, or maybe I release it by myself. It's not easy to get the labels interested, but I'll make it to try.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if they weren't interested. I'm assuming this did fairly well as far as sales. I would assume that it did. No, yes, maybe.
I don't know. I don't have anything to compare with. These days, CDs are not sold so much, but
I know.
I talked to Birgit at Pride and Joy, and she said that so far it has sold fairly well for being a new artist, a new band name. So I think it's a 500 copies,
Yeah.
something
Wow.
like that. So
Wow.
it's not much.
Yeah.
I can quit my job.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. You should be able to. I mean, in the old days, I think you might have been able to, Marcus. I think for folks that don't know, this is available. You can order this. I think got this, believe it or not, Amazon, I think, sent this to me. I mean, they didn't, I had to pay for it, but so if you're here in the United States, you might want to check out Amazon to order a copy of it. And Marcus, the old coastline, coastland. I keep
Coastland.
saying coastline. It's coastland ride.
You have a band in Sweden. I don't know if they're still going, but they have the name Coastline.
No,
Yeah.
so that it's there's a lot of, see, you're obviously here trying to say, hey, it's the West Coast, the coastland. That's, you take that ride down the Pacific Coast Highway. People are familiar with that in California. That's the ultimate. You put on like Christopher Cross, and you drive down that road. This is when I saw this in the album cover. I love great artwork too. I love the just the whole. It just adds to it. Like, okay, I'm going to grab this album, and like the old days where, again, you take the sleeve out of the album and you read the lyrics and the credits and everything and who's on it. So you get to know, hey, Jay Graydon's on this one too,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be a good one, I mean, that's the stuff we live for, right? I mean, you and I, Marcus, I think we're kind of in the same boat there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, it's good to have gotten you on again to talk about Pearls and Flames. It's good to know you're working on new material. Anything else you want to say to the American audience here? And I guess I do have a few fans over in Sweden, which is nice to know. But anything else you want to add to this?
Well, I hope they're looking at your channel.
Yeah.
And keep doing it. And if they do, they're gonna have the latest news of every single good music piece that's coming out from Europe.
Yeah.
So keep listening to Dave's channel, and if you like trying out the Person Flame, please do. And I really hope, if you do, that you enjoy the songs and also the Coast and Ride. And as Dave say, you can order it Amazon, or you can reach out to us. I have some CD to sell by myself or some other stores. So help us making new music by supporting us. That's the only way to keep this thing going, I think.
Yeah. Amen to that. That's the key. Support the artist. Don't just, the streaming is convenient. It's easy to do. I understand making your own little playlists and putting them in all in a nice little folder. But there's something to be said about, look at this. This is in my collection. This is cool. I pull this out and I go, you know what? I want to listen to Coastland Ride today. And it reminds me of the old days, Marcus. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Good.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and best of luck in 2023 and beyond. And just keep me in the loop, brother. I want to know when the new stuff is going to be ready.
Be sure of that, Dave. Thank you for having me, and have a nice day. Keep rolling.
All right.